let's talk about gratitude. Gratitude is so important in our lives, and I don't think we understand this because we live our day-to-day lives and we all just focus on what we can improve in our lives and what we don't have in our lives, but we need to focus on gratitude. Every day when you wake up, you're like, wow, I have freedom. You know what I mean? Like, I have freedom. I have things, and that right there, even freedom right there, because just imagine how many people wake up, they're in jail or they're in a mental hospital or they're inside a facility that they don't have freedom to leave. They can't leave, they have to stay there. You're healthy, you have your 2 legs, your 2 arms, that's something else to be healthy for, your health. You know how many people are in the hospital sick with diseases and all that stuff. And then, you know what? I have family. And if you don't have family, you know what? At least I have somebody that loves and cares for me in my life, whether that's your family, your friends, and other people in your life, And then reminiscing on the past, you can just be grateful that you've met those people and that those people came along your path as well. And it's just like all of these things that we don't really think about on a day-to-day basis, especially like freedom is the biggest privilege. How many people are in jail and they don't have privilege? You can get up and just go to your shower and take a shower. What about those people in mental hospitals, in the jails? They can't just get up and take a fucking shower. I know that seems so mundane for us, but I know how that feels like because I've been to a mental hospital. And when I was there for those whole 5 days, I didn't shower. And I know that's gross, but it's like even the water there, it smells bad, and it's just a lot of these things that I know because I personally went through that. I went through something like that. It's like I couldn't control when I went to the bathroom. I couldn't control when I showered or when I ate, and like we have this freedom, and like even that is just so small in our health and everything else in our lives. And we just see this as something stupid, because humans, all we do is focus on the shit that we don't have. But let's focus on what we do have. Let's be grateful for our health, for our freedom, for the privilege that you can wake up every day and you can choose to do something good in your life or choose whatever to do with your life. Some people don't have that privilege to do that. And also, we just focus on negative stuff, And you just have to remember that every experience in your life, every person that you meet in your life was always there for a reason. And yeah, I just feel like also too, we just choose to focus on the negative stuff. And I feel like that, especially with the news, we are constantly being overstimulated with the news, and the news is like always feeding you, oh my God, this person shot this person shot that. But as much as bad things that are going on in the world, there has to be as much good things in the world, because this world is a polarity, the yin and yang, and like I just feel like we as humans, we just choose to focus on negative shit when we on the positivity in our lives. And through that positivity in our lives, it's like obviously nobody's life is perfect. You're always going to find something that, oh, this is not this, and like you can just focus on the goodness in your life. And even if like you miss somebody, you can still appreciate the memories, and be like, you know what, I'm grateful that I even met this person, that I even had the opportunity to meet this person, and however that person impacted your life, It's like even reminiscing on memories, nostalgia, and all of that shit, it's all wrapped into us finding lack in our lives. And I understand. But I feel like I understand this in a deeper way because I am appreciative of everything in my life. And even the good and the bad experiences, It's like, obviously when we're going through something horrible, we're not over here like, oh my God, I'm so grateful. Obviously, you're like, oh my God, my life is falling apart. But even in those moments, you're still grateful. You know what? I'm alive. I'm alive to experience this. Like, I don't think people understand the severity of death. And when you die, that's it. You're not, like, when you die, you're not going to be mad. You're not going to be sad. You're not going to be annoyed that you have to pay bills or whatever. Like, you're just going to, it's like, I feel like the whole point of being a human is to experience every emotion. And it's like, even when you're going through something, you can reflect on your life and still be grateful for it. And it's just like, think about the people that don't have what you have, and I know that's like so cliche or whatever, but it is true, you know what I mean? Like, we're always looking to people that have more than us, but what about like the people that have less than you, and it's like humbling to really appreciate your life and what you have and what you don't have, because we just like to focus on what we don't have. But you just have to live day by day and be appreciative. Like, you wake up every day and you have freedom. And you have a freedom and you can do whatever you want in your life. And that right there, that's already freedom. What about people who are in jail? What about people who are stuck in religions and cultures, and you have to really think about it because it is that deep, like, I have freedom. I can wake up every day. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, and that is a privilege. The privilege of life is freedom, and freedom is like the biggest human thing ever. And I am a person that really appreciates this because there were times in my life, especially when I went to the mental hospital, that was like the most traumatizing part of my life, and where my freedom was stripped away and I was put into a mental hospital involuntarily, and I was stuck there for 5 days, and I got a taste of that. My freedom was taken away from me and I couldn't do what I wanted. My body felt unsafe, and it's like, that was just me for 5 days. Like, imagine the people who have been in jail for many years or even longer in a mental hospital, and that's like, I know, because like, that's scary, having your freedom taken away from you. And I just feel like that's the number one thing that we should be grateful for is freedom. Or anybody else that's like stuck in a religion that they can't do what they want to do. And that's just like what we have to be grateful for. Some people don't have the privilege to say what they want, do what they want, because something is holding them back. And they have no other choice but to follow that, And I'm just really grateful for my freedom, I have the freedom in my life to do what I want and say what I want and speak my truth. And I feel like that's the biggest thing that I'm grateful for in my life. And I feel like a lot of people should be grateful for that. Obviously, for my health and everything else in my life. But I feel like freedom is the most thing that we have privilege and we don't even realize it. But yeah, just be grateful for everything in your life. You are worthy of anything that you want in your life. And even if you don't get those things, there would be better things in your life for you. And just keep an optimistic mindset and don't think that it's the end of the world when you're in the darkness, because there is light always at the end of the tunnel, okay? And even when you feel like your life is falling apart, that is just the beginning of something great, and you can't even see it yet. So don't try to hurt yourself or others. Just whatever you feel, find healthy ways to deal with whatever you're feeling and still be grateful for what you're going through. Even when you're going through something bad, still be grateful for it. And I know that's hard when you're going through it, but still be grateful for it, and see the bigger view of the situation. and always be grateful every day, and just think about you have freedom. You can do what you want in your life, and that is the biggest privilege. Peace.